welcome to Hymer USA. My name is Brent Holton. I'm the president of Hymer North America, and it's a pleasure to have you here today. You've just stepped into our 30,000 square foot facility located in Villa Park, Illinois, which is just outside of Chicago. Again, we welcome you here. This is the main headquarters for Hymer North America. As you all know, our product is all made in Germany at Hymer headquarters, but here we sell, service, and support the product locally for the North American market. We also have a facility in Querétaro, Mexico, where we do the same. This part of the building, this 10,000 square feet of the 30,000 square feet, is what we call the Hymer Competency Center. This is an area where we have all of our equipment set up under power, always ready to show you. So you're always welcome to come visit us and see what we have. We always have the latest and greatest, and it's all under power and operational. So again, thank you for coming today, and let's show you around. So now we're going to talk a little bit about how Hymer can help you in turning and production type environments. So this is something that Hymer's really spent a lot of time R&D on lately. With our full product portfolio, from shrink fit ER collets to our dual lock collets, from our tool presetters, our shrink fit machines, we've really been able to expand and take a good step forward in the turning industry. So now we're going to compare setting a tool three different methods. So first what we're going to do is show the shrinking process with our Hymer I40 Sprint shrink fit machine. So what we're doing here is we're setting the stick out length that we're going to have coming from the collet to the end of the cutting tool. Here we're scanning a data matrix code that's printed on the collet, and it tells us exactly where the coil is going to be. Now this is a motorized coil, so it motorizes into position. The operator brings down the coil, starts the heating cycle. Within about 3 to 4 seconds, the bore opens up enough to be able to insert the cutting tool. What he does here too, he lifts the cutting tool to the stop, so now we'll know the exact stick out length is what we set it to be on that height gauge. We then move over the collet configuration to the cooling station, in which we bring down our air cooling system, which is a very even cooling method with air and a little mist that's going to cool down the collet. Then it's green, that tells us that we are cool. And then now we're ready to go forward with this shrink fit collet. Now keep in mind that was being done while the machine tool was running. So you're doing that part in the tool room. So now we're going to say, how are we going to switch the tools using three different methods? And look at the time here. From a dual lock collet in the bottom right, that's our modular system where you just screw in a new cutting tool to make a tool change, to the shrink fit collet on the bottom left, and then on top the standard ER collet method. And you'll see the difference in the time to change the tool. So there in the bottom right, you see the dual lock collet's already done with a very repeatable Z-axis dimension. So no other presetting is necessary. You just go ahead and start the machining process again. Meanwhile, in our bottom left, we're exchanging the shrink fit collet. Again, it's an ER back end, and we've just taken out one. We're going to put the other one in. As you saw, we set this tool up off the machine while the machine was running. So now we tighten the nut, and here, within 1 minute, we have successfully changed the collet cutting tool combination in that live tool with our shrink fit ER collet. And what's nice is you immediately can start making good parts, so no in-machine length tool presetting is needed once it's inserted, because we've already done that on the shrink fit machine. So now you see what he's doing with the standard ER collet up in the top. He's cleaning out the collet. Now again, that's best practice. Some people do skip that step, but they're going to just have run out and poor tool life if they do. So he cleaned up the collet, he exchanged the cutting tool, and he gets ready to put it back into the live tool at his station here in the turning center. You'll notice though, he also has to get the length stick out set. So he dials it in, kind of loosely clamps on the shank of the tool so he can still move the cutting tool while it's semi-clamped. And then he's going to take his digital caliper, bring it over, and actually make sure that he's at the stick out length that he wants. So you see this process is a little bit involved. And what's happening here that's another negative as it relates to turning centers or Swiss turn machines in some cases is that the door is open on the machine. So the temperature is changing right now. That's a negative because when he gets ready to run parts again, the first parts might be scrapped because of the change in temperature.
So another thing to consider why this is important to do such a quick tool change, besides the obvious fact of being able to keep your machine running. So now he's setting this for a 40 millimeter stick out length. He dials it in, tightens a little bit with his finger to make sure it's a little bit more snug, and gets ready to do the final clamping. So now he will clamp down this nut in order to totally secure the tool. But keep in mind, another disadvantage of regular ER collet, oh, there you go, so 2 minutes and 55 seconds. Another disadvantage of ER collets is that there could be tool slippage. That was an end mill, and you could actually have the tool move because of the aggressive cutting. Shrink fit, you get high clamping torque, so that's not going to happen. And also, with the dual lock, of course, it's a modular system we see here, that there's no way the tool could pull out. So you have excellent security. So here's the differences of the dual lock collet, the shrink fit collet, and then, of course, the standard method, the traditional method of using a regular standard ER collet. So a lot of disadvantages of doing it that way. So now we're going to show our HAIMER I4.0 Nano shrink fit machine. It's a new machine from HAIMER. It's also part of a family. We also have the Power Clamp I4.0 Air new generation machine too, which is similar. But this one is a horizontal machine, perfect for small shrink fit holders or ER collets. So here it's got the scanner, that's the I4.0 feature that's going to actually scan the data matrix code, pull up the right settings as far as the heating cycles. It also automatically indexes the coil to the right position. This machine is outfitted with our tool presetting device in which we can set the stick out length of the cutting tool from this ER collet. And so we're going to dial it in for a 36 millimeter stick out length in this example. We've got these little sleeves that are handy. They're on a tailstock at the other side of the machine. You put the cutting edge against the tailstock and insert it here as such. And this is going to help us with this stick out length. We bring the coil down in a horizontal fashion, heat up the tool. Within a couple seconds, it opens up. We bring the cutting tool in to where that sleeve and the cutting tool are bottoming out. So now we get this coil out of the way. And then what we're going to see is our cooling device. So this is air cooling. So again, within about 30 seconds to a minute, this collet will be cool based on circulated air flowing around the collet. So now the cooling cycle is done. He comes back over, moves it out of the way. He can take the ER collet out, and then he's done successfully the whole cycle. Now, under the machine, we have drawers for different fixtures to hold different ER collet sizes, different lengths of length adjustment. But it's a very handy tool for setting up tools, especially ER collets. It can also do shrink fit holders, so you're not limited to just ER collets. You can do shrink fit holders as well. So it's, again, a new series from HAIMER, the I4.0 Air series, and that was the Nano.
What we're showing here is our Solutions for Turning and Driven Tools display. What we have is a lathe turret that is outfitted with 14 different tools in the live tooling fixtures, and all of the cutting tools are being held in Hymer Solutions. So walking through the 14 tools, position number 1, we have a ER shrink fit collet with an ER16 back end. Position number 2, we have an ER32 shrink fit collet with a extended nose. Position number 3, we have a ER16 shrink fit collet with an extended nose. Position number 4 is also an ER shrink fit collet, ER32. Now again, using shrink fit in a live tool application is quite nice because it's very repeatable on the Z-axis. You can set it to the right length offline and then just simply exchange it in the live tool. So it doesn't take a lot of time. There's not a lot of downtime for the machine when you're switching from tool to tool, because again, the cutting tool can be put in the ER shrink fit collet while the machine is running as you prepare for your next job. Position number 5 is also a stubby ER shrink fit collet. Position number 6 is our dual lock collet, where we have the modular interface dual lock, where we thread on the carbide into the ER collet back end, and it's got a cool jet bore, so you can actually shoot coolant right down to the nose of the tool. No discs or nuts needed. Position number 7 is another ER shrink fit collet. Position number 8 is a direct dual lock connection to the company Benz interface. It's their quick change interface. We will also work with other live tooling manufacturers to interface with their quick change systems, but that one's showing the Benz. Position number 9 is another dual lock collet. Now the big advantage of the dual lock ER collet back end is that you can just replace the cutting tools when it's worn out, Your your dimension on the length is repeatable within plus or minus 10 microns, so in many cases no other further presetting is needed. You also have a very rigid connection, so there's no fear of the tool moving or breaking. Position number 10 is also showing the dual lock ER collet with some coolant delivery option. Position number 11 is showing, again, the quick change system from Benz with the dual lock built in directly. Position number 12 is showing the dual lock set up, again, with coolant being shot right down to the nose of the cutting tool. So again, the advantage there is very consistent coolant delivery. Position number 13 is showing one of our larger dual lock interfaces in an ER collet. And that's nice to show the versatility of maybe doing some really large roughing, even if possible, based on your application. And position number 14 is a combination of things. So we actually have our ER shrink fit collet holding a dual lock carbide extension, and in it is the dual lock cutting tool with just a 2mm cutting edge. Well, this is really nice, especially in lathe applications where you need to get around the chuck. So many times the workpiece is held in the chuck and you can't quite access it depending on the angle you're coming at. So here we see, in summary, a full solution from HAIMER that shows you our different dual lock ER shrink fit configurations that can be easily adapted to live tooling. The final thing we show on this display, and I'll walk over, is we can show that we can still use ER shrink fit collets or dual lock collets in a milling tool. So that's an HSK 63A high precision collet chuck from HAIMER, which is holding a ER shrink fit collet with an extension. So that's not just, these products are not just for lathe work, they can also be used for milling. So here we're seeing the turret in action, a real machine turret with all the different configurations of the HAIMER options clearly shown and operational. There at the bottom you see all the numbers and the different tools that are actually in those turrets, so you have a very good reference of what exactly are we seeing here when we look at this display. And then of course this display, again, probably hard to see, but it breaks down all the tools by number so you get a description. So for instance, this is tool 13. It's a chip breaker style, so it's good for roughing. It breaks up the chip very nicely. So again, that is the solutions for turning and driven tool display from HAIMER. So thank you very much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure to show you some of the newest innovations from HAIMER as it relates to turning and production. We hope that you enjoyed the demonstration today. If you have any questions or need to reach out to us, please reach us at www.hymer.com. We'd be happy to talk to you and engage on your shop floor with any applications we might be able to help you with. So again, thanks again and have a good day.